Many caregivers don't recognize the signs of abuse. Education is the first step in prevention of abuse and breaking the cycle. Stick around because this video is going to be covering some great information in regards to what abuse is and how to prevent it in yourself and in people that you love. This video is intended for adult viewers only. It discusses elder abuse and may be sensitive for some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. No explicit language is included. The whole reason for this video is to educate and empower us caregivers to make sure that we are taking the best care of the elders that are entrusting their care to us. Physical abuse is the act of force physically from one person to another. And it can be in a lot of different ways. It can be an action that one person puts onto someone else, throwing things, hitting in a forceful manner. Things you want to look for are like if you gently touch your loved one on the arm and they really wince or they cry out in pain, you need to start to looking into that. There could be also bruising, broken bones or fractures, things like that. Sometimes you're not going to be able to see where the abuse happened because it happened where clothes cover. So you may only see it when you're helping change clothes, change briefs, or if you walk into a room and you witness it yourself. So it's important to understand that abuse is not always visible. The next form of abuse is intimate abuse, and that is where any form of intimacy that is non-consensual happens. If someone says no, no means no. This also means if someone is a ward of the state, meaning that they are in need of a guardian or conservator and are unable to make decisions on their own, they are protected, and any intimate activity with them, even if they were to consent, is considered intimate abuse because they don't have the ability to make decisions for themselves. Some ways you can tell if someone has been abused in an intimate manner is bruising in the area. Sometimes you're only going to see that if you're assisting with bathing or changing of briefs. You may also notice that that person's having a hard time going to the restroom, that they are having pain, or they may be holding it because it's painful to go. This could be a medical situation that happens that could cause them to have a problem going to the restroom, but it also could be intimate abuse, and that is going to require a doctor to diagnose. You may notice, especially in a female, there is an odor that wasn't there before. And again, this could be a medical situation or could be a sign of intimate abuse. So going to a doctor again would be your best bet. You may also notice that the elder has become aggressive toward yourself, other family members, or caregivers in an intimate manner, where before they wouldn't do that sort of thing. So there would be a point of, wait, this isn't right. Let's get this checked out. You do also have to realize that a lot of elders had dated when they were very young. A lot of women were told to be diminutive and accepting and not to say no. So you may have to sit your loved one down and have that conversation that no means no. And you're like, wait a minute, no, we're not going to change the tables. We're not turning the tables here. Yes, you kind of have to, especially if your loved one is going back to dating. Even if they're not requiring your care, you may have to sit down with an elder and just go, listen, life is not the same anymore. I want to talk to you about that too, because in the first video that I talked with Bob Blancato, I brought up the fact that the largest and fastest growing population of people who are presenting with STIs or sexually transmitted infections are elders. And that has been a trend for the last 20 plus years. So your loved one does need to be sat down and think about it. When they were dating, they were young, they were not really worried about what goes around these days with illnesses and STIs. So you really should sit them down and talk to them. Again, even if they're not under your care, you may just want to have that frank conversation with, listen, you need to wear protection. It's important. And it needs to be 100% consensual. And no means no. Psychological abuse is the infliction of anguish, pain, and suffering through verbal and nonverbal acts. What does that mean? That means calling people names, yelling at them, giving your frustrations to them, putting them down, berating them, telling them they're nothing and they're horrible and they take time away from you, your family, and you know, they're taking time away from your life. Those kinds of things. Also, it can be going to hit someone and stopping right before that contact happens. These are some of the examples that really describe psychological abuse. A caregiver has a rough life sometimes. I mean, you've got children at times, you've got a spouse or significant other you're also trying to take care of. Yourself, somehow, you have to take care of, on top of work and errands, and you got to eat in there too. Plus, you have to take care of your loved one. It's overwhelming, and don't discount the stress you're under. But when you're going into the home of your loved one, it's really important to realize where you're at psychologically and kind of check yourself at the door. Now, if you're having a really bad day and you must go see your loved one and take care of them, be honest with them. Dad, I love you so much. Today has been a really rough day, and I really, really love our chats. But I don't want to say or do anything wrong. So if it's okay, can we just sit and watch the bird feeder for a little bit while we eat dinner? Or is it okay if I put on Jeopardy or the Wheel of Fortune while we just sit together today and I sort your medications? This way, you still have that togetherness. You're sharing a mutually enjoyed activity, and you're not leaving your loved one alone, but you're also recognizing that you're human and they're human, and you want to just be honest with them. Just be honest in a good way. Make sure you're frustrating me today and I'm just going to be silent. Just be understanding that they don't necessarily want to rely on someone. Really put yourself in that position. So just check yourself. Be honest with them. If it's becoming an everyday thing, then maybe you need to find a way to reach out and get someone else to help with the caregiving so that you can get a break. And maybe looking into respite care through your area agency on aging. And you can look that up on Google. Just type in Area Agency on Aging and type in your city and state. And they'll pop up, give them a call, and they have a lot of resources for you. The next abuse we're going to talk about is neglect. And that is where the responsible party just stops caring for their loved one. So what does that mean? For a YouTube disclaimer, I just want to let you know that I do not know a Sally, nor do I know a Glenda. I am not doxing anyone. I'm just sharing a story or an example so that the people that are watching can understand what form of abuse this is, and then they can make sure they're empowered and educated so that they don't do that to their loved ones. That means if Sally is taking care of Glenda, and Sally comes over twice a week to clean the house, help Glenda with a bath, and sort Glenda's medications, possibly cook some meals and put them in containers in the refrigerator for her. And all of a sudden, Sally doesn't come back anymore, and Glenda is left alone. If Glenda is reliant upon Sally to do the care that she needs, then Sally is being neglectful. And that is abuse. Some ways you can tell if someone's being neglected. Now, let's say you're flying in to visit Dad at his home for the holidays or for the summer, and you walk up to his property and the lawn's not done. There's trash everywhere. You will walk into the house will be in disarray. It will be in disrepair. Maybe the water is turned off. Maybe some of the electricity doesn't work. Maybe the air conditioning or the heater is broken. You may also look at dad and he's dirty himself. He's soiled, he's not clean, his clothes aren't changed, his hair is a mess, and he hasn't been bathed in a long time. Those are signs of neglect. Now, you don't have to see all of the things I listed. It could be one or the other or all. So just understand that. If you walk in and the house is pretty clean, the lawn is cut, but your loved one is not clean, and you're noticing that their briefs haven't been changed regularly, those are signs of neglect. You may also notice that there's no food in the refrigerator, or the food that's in the refrigerator is all expired and bad, or there's no food in the cupboards. So those are little signs you can look for. And there's a lot more, and we'll discuss that some more in the future. Another form of abuse in elders is self-neglect. And this is where the elder, either by choice or not by choice, does not take care of their own basic needs. They're not bathing themselves, making sure they're eating, taking their own medications, getting to the doctor, cleaning up their home so that disease does not run rampant and insects or rodents don't take over. They're not cleaning up their property so it's not a safe environment for them to travel. Those are some forms of self-neglect. They're not paying their bills. They're also not making sure their home is kept in repair. Self-neglect is a very rough form of neglect because the only way you're going to see it is by visiting regularly or by being there. A lot of times elders will not share with you that there is a situation going on. The next form of abuse is abandonment. Now, abandonment is a tough one because that is where a loved one is just left. It's very similar to neglect, but sometimes the elder can be brought somewhere and just dropped off and left, such as a doctor's office, a hospital, sometimes a park, or a mall. You can find them wandering in places, and they were just dropped off there and never picked up again. Abandonment is a scary and very sad form of abuse. If you ever notice that you see a loved one that's just wandering around, make sure that you approach them gently, ask them if they need any help or if they're looking for someone. And if they don't have the answers, make sure you call and get someone out, such as a police officer or Adult Protective Services. And all of the information in regards to Adult Protective Services and Area Agency on Aging, where I mentioned before, are listed in the comments section as the pinned comment and also in the description box below. The next form of abuse that we're going to talk about, and the last form that we're going to talk about today, is exploitation. And that is the illegal or improper use of an elder's funds. This can be stealing cash, stealing checks, taking money out of their account, or forcing them to take money out of their account, whether it be a tiny amount or a large amount. This is also a form of abuse that can be blurred sometimes in people's minds. Mom asked me to go to the bank and take money out, and I had to go and do a couple errands too, and I didn't have money in my pocket, so I took an extra $10 out for myself. I intended on paying her back. Or Dad needed me to go to the pharmacy to pick up his prescriptions, and they cost money, and I didn't want to talk to him about it, so I just grabbed his wallet and took out $20 to cover it. That's it. It wasn't meant for me. Those forms of money movement are forms of abuse. And so you need to realize that if the elder is unaware or does not consent to the money being moved, then that is considered exploitation. So communication is key. Understanding how you're handling the money is key. And making sure that they understand what you're doing at all times. And if they're not understanding, then conservatorship is very important. I'm going to talk a little bit more about conservatorship in a future video when we do some scenarios. Oh, please don't miss that video. It's going to be amazing because we're going to talk about certain stories which could be or maybe not abuse. And I kind of make it a little game of sorts where you can guess and then we discuss it. So don't miss that video. That's coming up next week. But you need to understand. You're like, wait a minute. I'm taking $20 out of Mom's purse or out of dad's wallet to pay for their prescriptions. I'm not taking their money from me. That doesn't matter. That's still considered exploitation. You need to say, Dad, I need to go get your prescriptions. The total for all of them should be around $20. Is there a way you can give me the money for that, please? And then I will bring you back the change with the receipt in the bag with your prescriptions. Dad takes the money out of his wallet, hands it to you. You go to the store, you get the prescriptions, you put the receipt with the money, the change, in the bag, and then you bring it back to Dad. Not exploitation. Communication, respect, and understanding, both you and he, on what kind of transaction you're going to be doing. If Mom says, I need you to go to the store and get me X, Y, and Z, and here, I know you've got kids, I'm going to give you an extra 20, I'm going to give you an extra 50, whatever, on her own accord. You didn't ask her for it. You didn't tell her that you weren't going to do it unless you got this extra money. If she just says here and gives it to you because you've been so good to me, I'm really appreciative, whatever, then that is not exploitation. But if you're like, I'm not going unless you give me $20 because I need some milk for the kids, that is exploitation. Okay? All right. We'll talk about some more scenarios in next week's video in a lighthearted manner. I just wanted to take a quick second to say that it's very important to understand that there are signs and symptoms to look for if someone is going through an abusive situation. There are going to be obvious physical things you can see, such as bruising or broken bones or cuts and swelling. But there is that emotional side as well. If you notice that your loved one is becoming more quiet, not communicating as much as they used to, possibly even cowering away or becoming more depressive in their state of mind, and if you notice that they're talking different, like, I don't deserve that, or I shouldn't have that, or I'm bad, or I'm wrong, those type signs are also things that you should be looking for. And if you see any of it, the physical aspects and the emotional aspects, definitely go to a doctor. Bruising can be caused by medications. Some medications make your skin very susceptible to bruising, even to the slightest touch. So don't always go to the worst part, but go to the doctor. Urinary tract infections or UTIs and other issues can be signs of having a hard time going to the restroom. It can also increase odor in a person's body. It can alter their mental state. So always, 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 if you suspect something isn't right, go to the person's physician with them and have them evaluated. Tell them your concerns as well. This is not like Mom. Dad is talking different. Auntie isn't calling me like she used to. She is ignoring me, or she won't stay on the phone. Tell them your concerns, but then also let them do their medical examination. It is so important to be open and honest and to take the steps you need to take. The physician of your loved one will be there to help you, walk you through the steps you need to take if they too believe that there is an abusive situation going on. Also, utilize what's out there. Adult Protective Services is an amazing organization. Everything I'm talking about is going to be listed underneath this video and in the comments section below. I just wanted to jump on to talk to you about a few very important aspects of caring for your loved one. Another thing you want to look at as well in regards to the financial side of it is if money's leaving their bank account, if they're unable to pay their bills, if certain things in their home are not being fixed where they would have had the money and the wherewithal to get that fixed. Also, the lack of food. If they don't have food in their home and they've lost a lot of weight, these are signs of things you need to look into as well. And again, start with the doctor if you're noticing physical changes, and then move forward with calling the local agencies. Area Agency on Aging, Adult Protective Services, and your physician are the front line of where you begin to get the help for the ones that you love. Just remember, if you see something, say something. So let's talk about ways we can break the cycle, because it's so important to break the cycle of abuse at the source. So education and empowerment is key. So always make sure that you educate yourself on what is going on with abuse. You can contact your local police department or sheriff's office and call the non-emergency number and ask them, hey, what are the kind of scams? Typically, they will have an educational officer that will talk with you and share with you what's going on. And sometimes they even have groups in your town where you can go and meet once a month, once a quarter, and the police will sit down and share with you, hey, XYZ is going on right now. So it's really important that you talk with your local law enforcement. Your area agency on aging will have a lot of information too. Once you understand the scams that are going on, talk about them at dinner with friends and family. Talk about them with your loved one. The more you share, the more education you're going to give to others. If you share with the elder what's going on, they're going to be more empowered. They're going to know that they need to call you if they receive an odd phone call or an odd email before answering the email and giving the information. They're also going to know that people should not be calling them and telling them to go to the bank and transfer money. These are things that you can educate your loved one on and yourself so that you both can stop the cycle of abuse. Check on your loved ones regularly. Even if you're out of town, there are ways you can check on them. You can try to do Zoom or FaceTime or other kinds of face-to-face phone calls. This way, you can see them. You can see if they're starting to lose weight, that maybe they're not getting the food that they need. Maybe somebody's taking their money and they're not affording going to the grocery store. They can't afford to do it. You'll notice that they're not bathing. So you'll start to see these little signs, and it will help you make better decisions for their safety. Check on them if you live nearby. Come by once in a while. Walk through their home with them. Make sure that they see that you're just looking to make sure the house is okay, that there's nothing in disrepair, that the smoke detectors aren't beeping, that no lights are out, so that their safety is key and number one. Make sure that they don't have throw rugs, things like that, so that they know that you love them and that they know that you're just making sure they're okay, that you're not trying to intrude on their life, but you're trying to just be part of their life and make sure that they're safe. Be vigilant. Speak up. If you see something, say something. Do not stop at, oh, they're going to be okay. It'll be all right. I don't want to cause a scene. No. If you see something, say something. You do have to know that you are the first line of defense for your elder's life. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being part of this video. Now, next week's video is all about scenarios. So we're going to show different scenarios, and you guys are going to be able to vote on whether you think it's an abusive situation or not. It's going to be a really good video to be a part of. I just want to let you know that I realize that caregiver life can be hard. And sometimes we just don't realize that we ourselves are stressed out, and we want to make sure that we're not taking our stress out on our loved ones. So please know that you are loved, you are appreciated, you are heard, you are amongst friends on Think Sarah. And until we speak again, blessings.